Fam, I woke up to the schmears, the schmear. And I'm not talking about when I used to wake up in Boca Raton, Florida, when I have a bagel with cream cheese and lox, and we call that a schmear. I'm talking about a character schmear. So you wake up, and the first one, what do you hear right off the bat is, what do you think it is? I mean, Bernie Sanders, the corporatist, joins the 2020 race. So now they're trying to say that he's a rich corporatist, whatnot.
Yeah, this is from the a neoliberal, a centrist, whatever you want to call it, standpoint, saying that, you know, Bernie should just pretty much give the race to a woman of color, saying Bernie, you know, is a centrist, that corporatist. Bernie, it's just, they're not even trying. No. That's lazy. Bernie, you just called him a socialist. Now you're going to call him a corporatist? You know, it doesn't even make sense.
And the first thing you hear, though, is Bernie Sanders is too old to be president. This is the one that's driving me apeshit crazy, fam. He's less than 5 years younger than Donald J. Trump.
He's younger than Pelosi.
He's 2 years younger than Pelosi. He's 1 year older than Biden. You don't ever hear anybody say anything about their age, fam. So right off the bat, here it goes. The 77-year-old senator will be too old to run for president, fam. Anything to say about that? Because we've said it before. He's mentally fit. He was a long-distance runner. He looks a lot healthier than the Cheeto Man, does he not?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Donald Trump looks like he could just pass out from too many Big Macs any given day. But Bernie, like, I'm telling you, I've seen the man go to like 5 different events in one day. Yeah. I was done after like 3 events. And you know, it's crazy. And by the way, someone's always too old or too young. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's too young. She doesn't know anything. Yeah, Bernie, it's too old.
His time has passed. His time has passed. But here's the other one, smear number 2. He's too white, fam. I mean, I looked at this thing over here, Tim Cast over here, and this was early. Okay, you could see Bernie Sanders will lose the 2020 race because he's a white man. And that was early with almost 50,000 views on this stuff. So here comes the identity politics again. This is coming more from the left now. This is not coming from the right. This is
absolutely coming from the left.
Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, I think when he talked on TYT the other day, he noticed the fact that, hey, listen, I'm thinking that maybe I pick somebody a different gender than me to be my vice president. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is that we have to understand it's all about content of character. And Bernie Sanders, you know, he has the resume to be the president, regardless if he's a white man or not. Don't get me wrong. I want Tulsi to be the vice president, not because she's the woman, because she's the most fit, I think, and the most capable and the best person for that job right now. So I think content of character has to outweigh the fact that he's a white man. Do we want diversity? Yes. But it shouldn't be something that will excuse Bernie Sanders and kick him out.
And one more thing. I love how the Democratic establishment uses anti-Semitism where it's fit when it comes to Ilhan Omar. But they completely forget that Bernie is Jewish, and that it's kind of ridiculous to ignore that that fact. He's not just a white guy. He's a first-generation immigrant. His parents and his family were not from here. Yeah. You know, and it completely makes him a different person because, you know what? He has those roots and he has that heritage, and people completely dismiss that when it comes to him. But if it's another establishment candidate, of course, or AIPAC money, then that's when they use the anti-Semitic trope.
Yeah, and I just would like to say right behind us is the woods in Bernie Sanders' backyards where he grew up. That was his tree over there, where he wrote down "I love Jane" and he carved it with a heart in there and stuff like that. But fam, after we were getting into it, like, okay, now he's too old. He's a white male. I said, what's next? What are we going to hear next? And guess what circulated back around?
What?
I don't like Bernie Sanders' stances on guns.
Oh,
the
God.
Brady Bill, fam. Remember that one, fam?
Yeah.
How many times do we have to go over this? And look what Jenna Siegel-Schwartz wrote.
Twister.
Why Bernie? Why? For anyone thinking about voting for Bernie, here's his track record on common sense gun laws. He voted against the Brady background check bill. He has taken NRA money. Where is that fucking coming from? He voted to allow guns on an Amtrak trains. We're talking about taking rifles, checking them in, and going up to the freaking wilderness to go shoot because, you know, there's a difference between a rural area. And he refused to meet with gun violence survivors. I mean, this is just pure propaganda bullshit. It was started by the Clinton Foundation. They took this one little area of the Brady Bill, which we have to understand. The Brady Bill was about punishing distributors, and he couldn't punish rifle distributors in Vermont. He has all these people hunting.
Exactly. And we've gone over this 100 times. I honestly feel like it's out of...
What's his report card rating from the
NRA? A D- from the NRA.
A D- minus
from the NRA. And he did not take money from them.
A D minus.
Ever. Like, where does that...
I don't even know where that's coming from. I want to see if he took money from the NRA and stuff like that. But here's the fourth reason, fam, because this is the one that really got me going. As I was scouring all over the internet yesterday, and I was yelling at people for these stupid critiques. There was one critique that got me a little scared. Because there's my homeboy Anomaly, who's a popular podcaster on the right, and he had a live stream where he argued that Senator Sanders is the establishment's wet dream. And I think a lot of people have been kind of taking on the sense that since the convention, since when Bernie packed it on in and supported Hillary Clinton, he's then joined the establishment. And I think this is going to be something that we have to, this is going to be an argument, this is going to be turkey talk, where you're going to see those conservatives on the right and those Main Street people, oh, he is an establishment
he's a sellout. He's a
sellout. He had a chance to be anti-establishment, but he chose to go with him. So we have a little clip over here from 3653 to 3819 with Anomaly. And don't get me wrong, Anomaly is mad loving. He's mad smart. He's not the average day, every Trump fan that you see all the time. This guy worked for Bernie Sanders. He gave up his life for Bernie Sanders. So he's upset, tarnished, and mad on what Bernie Sanders has done to him. And I love Anomaly. I really do. I don't agree with him at all on a lot of issues. And he's very, very smart. So I think he's kind of alerted us to something that we got to be ready to fight. Go ahead.
Should not be attacked or criticized. That's very dangerous. And if you didn't listen to me voting for Hillary, I voted for Jill Stein. If you voted third party or voted for Trump, then Russia must have gotten to you. No, Russia didn't get to me with their $5 Bill O'Reilly, Jesus versus the devil, hand wrestling. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump now because Bill O'Reilly told me to vote for Jesus. Like, no, Bernie, that's not what did it for me. I've known this stuff for a decade. Some of this stuff, it's deeper than that. Not only did he do that, he puts out tweets and he says, Trump lies all the time. He's like, well, me and George Bush disagreed a lot, but at least George Bush was just a conservative. Trump's a perpetual liar. So it's like, who is this guy, Mr. Anti-Establishment? He's throwing his own people under the bus after they sacrificed their lives, including myself, to raise $180 million for him. He throws us under the bus. He sides with the media. He sides with George Bush. He sides with Hillary Clinton. He'll do anything. He's not anti-establishment. He's pro-establishment, socialist communist who understands the only way that socialism or democratic socialism or full-fledged communism is going to come to this country is through the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders understands that. Yes, he's independent because he wants to go further left, but he knows who his friends are. His friends are Obama. His friends are George Bush. His friends are Hillary Clinton. His friends are the establishment. His friends are the media who is pushing far leftism anyway, mixed in with establishment creepy leftism, warmongering stuff that I know progressives don't agree with. He knows that those are his friends because they don't... Communism and progressive socialism is not a threat to the establishment. Like Bernie says, I'm going to fight the establishment, but I'm going to be a socialist. Why do you think he stands with the Bushes and the Clintons and the media? It's because he's not anti-establishment. He's going to use the establishment, and they're going to use Bernie because high taxes and government control of the health industry is not a threat to the establishment. All
right, let's stop there, fam, because I know I can feel the fam getting wound up over here, fam. And when he says these things, I don't understand when he says, socialism, communism is the same thing as it could be establishment because it's completely anti-corporatist. So, fam, do you have anything to say about this? Because I don't want to discuss this because I also came up with 3 reasons because he sits there and starts claiming that Donald Trump is anti-establishment, that he wanted to crush the establishment, and Bernie joined it, fam. What's your thoughts?
Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit rational about this. Like, from his perspective and from the perspective of other leftists and other independents, I can see how they feel betrayed by Bernie because he did go and endorse Clinton. He did go tell people to vote for Clinton. He did kind of take that stance. However, if he wouldn't have done any of that, we wouldn't be in the situation where he's able to raise $6 million in 24 hours, and now he's a Democratic frontrunner, and he's still speaking the same language. However, it is his tactics of doing it differently. If we want someone that's going to go and tear them down with insults and go and actually be that vicious, that's not Bernie. And the fact that you can say that capitalism and socialism can be establishment doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense because that's just impossible. What he is saying is that the socialist workers' revolution that's going to happen is not just going to happen within the Democratic Party. It's going to happen outside of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Those are his words. He said it himself, and he said, if I ever tell you to vote for, don't listen to me. He's been saying this for years.
Vote your conscience.
And he didn't forget that. And I just feel like a lot of people are forgetting that that was the mission all along. It wasn't for him to just win and have this ego of, look, I'm just going to stand up and I'm going to play the most wokest one in the room. It's, I'm going to pass this torch on, and we need to build upon this. This isn't just about winning right now.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got 3 reasons real quick we'll go over of why Bernie Sanders is anti-establishment and Donald Trump is actually part of the establishment. He might have said he was anti-establishment, during the campaign, but that guy is so establishment. Number 1, okay, I'm sorry, but I don't understand what anomalies take when he says the establishment doesn't care if we move to a single-payer system. They've been fighting this shit for so long. Key Democratic leaders have pocketed millions from big farmers, and they still are pocketing millions from big farmers. They campaign on single-payer in the primaries. They win their primaries, these establishment Democrats, and then they totally go away from it and say, code, we have to strengthen the ACA. In fact, remember when Obama had to take Dennis Kucinich on a plane to convince a progressive, like, hey man, you need to come aboard with us on this particular bill here, the ACA. I know it mandates, insurance, but we can't get to single payer if we don't start here. And Dennis Kucinich wanted to go for a single payer system when Obama had a full democratically controlled Congress on both sides, fam.
And they still didn't do it.
No, they didn't.
They managed to fail at that.
Yeah, okay. And since, let's see, since 1988, I think, Bernie Sanders, we have a little video over here, he's been fighting for single payer. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is a film of 1988. Go check this out. Fam, we're okay?
Linwood, Washington. Good evening.
Yes, I have 3 quick questions.
Okay.
If socialized medicine is so great, why do the wealthy of the world, including the Shah of Iran, come to America for treatment? Second question, will the last living socialist in the world be from Vermont? And third, was Adolf Hitler a socialist?
Thank you.
Well, let's start backwards and work our way up. No, I don't think Adolf Hitler was a socialist. He was a national socialist, a Nazi, and presumably, I suspect, arguably one of the more horrendous human beings that has ever walked on the face of this earth. In terms of socialized medicine, why rich people such as the Shah of Iran can go any place they want to get the best health care that they can. And I would say that probably in the United States, if you're a millionaire, this country provides you with the best health care in the world. Okay? If I were a millionaire and I were living in Iran or any place in the world, I might well come to the United States. The question is, what happens if I'm making $20,000 a year and I can't afford the cost of health care? Where would I go? Well, then I'd have a lot of problems in the United States. 15% of our people have no health insurance whatsoever. The cost of Blue Cross, Blue Shield is zooming up. Doctors' bills are zooming up. One of the interesting contrasts that one might work is not worry about Iran or the Shah, but talk about the difference between Canada and the United States. In Canada, when they do polls, they find out that over 90% of the people feel good about their health insurance program, health insurance system. You have a conservative government in Canada, conservative, right-wing government that comes in, does not attempt to change one part of that program because that government understands there'll be a revolt on the part of the people. You do a poll in the United States of America and you say to Americans, how are you feeling about the health care in the United States? People saying, it's off the wall. I can't afford it. I can't afford to go to the doctor. I can't afford it, insurance. And the polls tell us that the American people are grossly dissatisfied with what's going on. One of the things that I've done lately, if I may give an advertisement for myself, a brief one, is that at the last conference that I attended with the National League of Cities and Towns, we managed with some other people to push through a resolution on the part of the National League calling upon the Congress to develop a national health care system. I think that that's the way we have to
Right
go.
there, stop it right there. All right, so we have to cut that short. I mean, it was at the end anyways, but fam, that's anti-establishment as fuck. He was doing that in 1988.
He was doing that before I was born.
Okay.
And we still haven't
Please.
fixed the situation. And by the way, this is Medicare for all, universal health care, unlike Anomaly said, is not for more government control. No, that is actually so people have access to it, okay, in general, because healthcare is a human right. And that is one of the main lies that people who don't understand Medicare for all or who aren't for it say that, ooh, the government's going to have control over your health care. Actually, the government has more control now over our health care because people are dying because they can't afford it, because people are getting paid big money to continue to support these lobbyists, big pharma, and insurance companies. That's government control. Medicare for all is people control.
That's going to be a hard argument, too, with a conservative on Thanksgiving on Turkey Talk, because they're always going to do that stuff. P.J. O'Rourke, who was a famous comedian, used to go on Bill Maher all the time, used to say, Republicans complain that government doesn't work, then they get elected and prove it. It's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we're going to put healthcare in the system of the government now? They can't do anything right. They're a bunch of crooks.
I'm done with that argument.
No, leave it out. But that's a tough argument. It's going to be hard to crack that shell. But still, once again, we pay twice as much than the country right next to us. Every single socialized country has come up with a socialized medicine, a form of socialized medicine. We can do the same if we're the greatest countries. Number 2, fam, because I know you like this one from when Tulsi Gabbard said, because he's this bitch talking about Donald Trump being this is another reason why he's very establishment and Bernie Sanders is not. Like, unlike the establishment hacks, Bernie is in Saudi Arabia and Israel's BITCH, okay? You can see a little picture of Mr. Donald Trump over here hanging out with the Saudis, okay? All right, and there's a lot of other, let's see what other establishment. Oh, there's Barack Obama, another establishment guy. There's George Bush Jr. Who else we got? Oh, there's Bill Clinton with the Saudis. Oh, there's George Bush Sr. And finally, Ronald Reagan. So Donald Trump has followed up and been Saudi Arabia's bitch, just like every single establishment president beforehand, okay? All right. And what does Bernie Sanders say about our relationship? He talks, we need to reevaluate it, right?
Exactly.
Take a look at Bernie Sanders, how he feels about Saudi Arabia.
Block some of these arms sales to Saudi Arabia. But, Mr. President, I also think it is long past time that we begin to take a very hard look at our relationship with Saudi Arabia. This is a country that is run by a hereditary monarchy in which women are treated as third-class citizens.
All right, there it goes, fam.
That's it. That's enough
right
for
there.
me.
Is there a picture of Bernie Sanders with one of the Saudi princes? No, I'm sorry, not available.
And not to mention the fact that we are
fam.
still giving them weapons, and we're still, fueling what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. And he's one of the few people that has actually spoken out against that.
And remember Donald Trump, because there's more, fam. That's just Saudi Arabia. Now we got the Israel thing and stuff like that, because we have a president who said once. Remember when he started crying about on the campaign trail, the famous drain the swamp, and he talks about lobbyists. Watch this, fam. Anti-establishment guy.
Oh God, do I have to? Okay.
Is there words coming up though? Where's the?
No. Okay.
Okay, well, it's okay. That was his famous drain the swamp speech, fam, where he goes, we got to stop it because they're all lobbyists, and these staffs, they become lobbyists. But then where does he go, and where does he speak to? Look at this. This is at AIPAC. AIPAC, who are lobbyists.
When I become president, the days of treating Israel like a second-class citizen will end on day one. We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
Okay, so fam, Mr. Adelson, the owner in Vegas, who paid him millions of dollars for this, he goes and he speaks at AIPAC, which are what, fam? Lobbyists.
Oh, absolutely. They're lobbyists, but... And
guess what, too, fam? Look at this.
Oh.
We got some pictures of other famous establishment people. Oh, there's Chuck Schumer over there, I think, speaking to lobbyists. We have Nancy Pelosi speaking to lobbyists. Who else we got? Give us some more. Oh, there's Mr. Barack Obama speaking and pandering. Oh, Hillary Clinton pandering to lobbyists. Establishment George Bush, and establishment Mr. John McCain. And let's get the picture of who? Donald J. Trump. Mr. Establishment talking to fucking lobbyists, fam.
And he campaigned as an anti-interventionist candidate. He campaigned as an anti-establishment. And you guys got to be honest. I mean, even if I were to ignore everything else that's terrible, even if I were to just vote for him for economics and for making America great again and for kind of having better trade policies, which are probably maybe one of the few things in his stance on North Korea and Syria that he kind of backtracked on anyway, are one of the couple things he's done. But even if I ignored everything else and did that, he's not anti-establishment. He's still keeping us in these wars, in these occupations, and he's now pushing for us to go into Venezuela. So no, that everything that he said and he ran on is false. So
yeah, and here's the third reason, fam, because here's the number one reason why Bernie Sanders is anti-establishment and Donald Trump is not. You know why? Because Bernie Sanders is for the working class. Bernie Sanders is for supporting unions.
And he shows it.
Donald Trump is for supporting fucking corporations. Look at his tax break, for crying out loud. Bernie Sanders, what did he do? After he lost the election, he went out and he started working, marching with Disney workers, got them a raise. Then he went over and took on Amazon. Guess what, fam? He got them a raise. And what about Verizon? He stood up with people at Verizon, got them a raise. And you will always see Bernie Sanders walking the picket line, striking with people. You have videos and pictures like this galore. Do we have anything of Donald Trump? I'm sorry. Not available. We haven't found a picture of Donald Trump out there walking and striking with workers.
It's beneath him. That's the thing. Bernie Sanders was an activist. He was an organizer. He was one of us. And I say that because I'm very involved in my community too. And I just love seeing someone like that. Someone that's actually walks the walk and doesn't just talk the talk, actually being part of our politics. Same reason why I do like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she is like the same kind of mindset.
She is, and then that's the whole thing. If you're supporting corporations, you're supporting the establishment. That's what they're all about. Bernie Sanders has never done that. He's anti-establishment as fuck. He's still standing for workers, and I'm sorry for cursing. I love my boy Anomaly, but you're so wrong on this one, brother. And I'd love to debate you more on it. And give me a call. We'll hook
I'd
up.
love to debate him. Actually,
I know.
Because
I love Anomaly.
I'm a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, Anomaly is he's definitely of different mentality and different ideology
and
than us.
We should be able to have those tough conversations.
We should be able to talk. Fam, you had something going on, I think.
I do. So I think it's very important that in all our excitement for Bernie and all of our, just like our happiness for Bernie and how well he's done, we don't forget who we were in 2016. We were supporting a grassroots movement from an unknown senator from Vermont, and people told us what we had was pie in the sky, that we couldn't win, that we couldn't even get that far, that we should just give up. And we were the only ones talking about these things that were seen as so radical. But this time around, because of what happened in 2016, because Bernie inspired so many people like Tulsi Gabbard have jumped into the race. People like Mr. Andrew Yang have jumped in the race. And you know what? They need us because the establishment and the media completely ignore them. They black them out. And they deserve to be on stage because these are progressive voices that wouldn't have happened without Bernie. And it wouldn't be very progressive or honest or just right of us to completely ignore them simply because they are not our candidate. And I believe Tulsi Gabbard is one of the strongest
we
VP
need a voice
or
on that
Secretary
stage,
of
fam.
State for that. And I think her anti-war and anti-imperialist stance needs to be heard. Needs to be heard because nobody else is really talking about that big. Even Bernie will mention it, but she goes really deep into it. And other progressive voices like Yang are actually supportive of Bernie. He made several tweets in support of Bernie, saying he has inspired millions of people and transformed our politics. I was an admirer and I still am. I'm glad he's running, and I'm sure his work will continue to move us all in the right direction. And so it's not fair to completely act like we are above it, because that's what the establishment does. We are still part of this progressive movement. We all want our progressives to get on that stage and push each other right on the issues. And that's why I am donating to multiple candidates, not just one.
I'm donating to Tulsi as well. And there's 3 areas I think we kind of noticed where we think Bernie Sanders needs to get a little bit more work on.
Where the criticisms are correct,
And 2 of the 3, Tulsi's already been there.
Right.
So I want to see her on a third issue, which is election integrity. On the left, I think we need to make sure that these elections coming up are fair, and Bernie Sanders has to call it. Any atrocities this time. What happened in Nevada can't happen again. What happened in Arizona can't happen again. What happened in Florida and New York with the purging cannot happen again. So that's where he lost a lot of support, and we have to be able to call it out. I'm kind of interested to see what Tulsi has to say when it comes to election integrity, because she's been so good on regime change, and she's been so good on war, fam. Fam, you got to get to work today. They're waiting for you to pour some nice glasses of Pinot Noir and have some beautiful tender lamb. For Fiorella Isabel.
And what?
I just did it wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're supposed to say for pasta Jardula.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all for watching, and I appreciate you for giving your insight. And please let us know in the comments what you think of what's being said. Please let us know your stance on how you feel about Bernie's run, about Tulsi's run, and know that you know, this is a very, very pivotal election, and we're going to try to follow it as closely as we can. So thank you very much for watching. Can
you tell people to go over to our YouTube's watch because they listen to you, fam.
They listen to you.
The star over here, she wants us to go over to the YouTube,
please go
Facebook.
to our YouTube, Facebook, and subscribe to our CONVO Couch. Subscribe to MCSC Network.
Yes, MCSC Network. YouTubes. We need some help on the YouTubes.
Shout out to our peeps from MCSC Network. Niko House. Find your balance.
Yes, we love you too. And we want to send a shout out to Anomaly. Sorry for picking on you the show, but we can talk more about these issues. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella. CONVO out. Bye, guys.